In front of me is Professor Vince Kavaloski, Professor of Philosophy at Edgewood College. So Vince, where did you grow up?
I grew up in South St. Paul, Minnesota, and I went to St. Augustine School, which was run by the Cincinnati Dominicans. So I began my education with the good sisters, and here I am finishing up my career with the good sisters, what's left of them here.
Oh, all right.
At least their values, I think, have permeated the institution.
They have. What was your family like?
It was 100% Polish. My father was born in Warsaw, Poland, actually. But they were of the immigrant status that wanted to assimilate. So they didn't teach us Polish or anything like that. They wanted us to become Americans.
Okay.
My dad was a working class. He was a laborer at Swift and Company.
Okay.
Down on Concord Street. It was the biggest meat packing other than Chicago.
Okay. Was your family more nuclear, or was it more of an extended family?
Extended family?
Yeah. Was your family nuclear or extended? Do you have lots of cousins and aunts and uncles?
Well, it started off extended. My dad had 10 brothers and sisters, actually. And when I was very young, they used to come over and play cards and talk Polish. And at some point, my mom decided that we should be upward mobile, and she forbade them to come. And we constricted to just a small family.
Okay.
And she talked about no more of those dumb Polacks over here.
Was your mom ethnically Polish?
Yeah, she was.
Really?
But she felt that they were all kind of working class, blue collar types, and she wanted us to go upward, as she put it.
Oh. So
I'm kind of sad that we lost that connection, really.
Yeah. So your dad worked at a meatpacking plant?
Yes.
Did your mom work outside of the home?
She worked there in the summers also.
Really?
Yeah, and it was tough work, but
okay.
she was able to send us to Catholic schools, Catholic grade school, high school, and college.
Okay. Okay, schools. What schools did you go to?
Well, in the beginning it was St. Augustine's, and that was the Cincinnati Dominican school.
Okay.
And I still remember Sister Kevin, the 6-foot nun. They were tough, but you learned a lot. And then I went on to a Catholic high school, which was also a military academy.
Which one?
Cretin High School in St. Paul.
Okay.
It was mandatory in those days. It's just optional now. But we had sergeants coming back from an exotic place called Vietnam, preparing us to go and defend democracy and God's honor against godless communism. And I'll never forget, we had religion class telling us to love your neighbor and love your enemy, and right after that military class where they taught us how to stab dummies with bayonets and twist in the intestines.
Really?
And nobody ever saw any contradiction until after we graduated.
Huh. So that was high school, right?
Yeah, and then I went into St. Thomas College.
Okay.
And they were still pro-war, pretty much, and I got in trouble in the philosophy department for challenging that too much, and actually...
What years?
64 through 68.
Okay, so that would have been during the Vietnam War then, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were trying to justify it in the philosophy department as a just war, and I argued against it, and a little bit too vehemently. The chair of the department actually threw me out of his class and wouldn't let me back in. And it was awkward, me being a philosophy major. I had to go down the street to McAllister College, finish up my classes there, which was great. They were much more open-minded in their thinking.
Okay.
And I took 3 or 4 classes there and was able to transfer them back, so I graduated from St. Thomas.
Oh my. Where'd you go to graduate school?
University of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And had very famous professors who not only wrote books, but had books written about them. But it was a little bit too stressful for me, very academic.
Uh-huh.
And I've tried to teach in a different style that tried to preserve rigor but without dehumanizing students.
Oh my. Okay. What were your intellectuals when you were a youngster? Let's say teenager on up. So what intellectual interest did you have when you were, let's say, a teenager or a young man? Was it philosophy or?
Well, I went through a transformation. I started off, I wrote in my book, Living the Questions, that I started out a childhood warmonger. You know, I really believe, I went to that Catholic military academy. I really believed we had to have war, especially against communism. But at some point I began to see what the war was really about, was killing innocent people. And that picture of the little Vietnamese naked girl running down the road on fire from napalm produced and dropped by the United States shocked me so much that I'd completely reversed my worldview to anti-war, and I've been basically a pacifist ever since then.
Really?
So I went from pro-war to pro-peace, and
oh wow, that's quite a
and
U-turn.
I've taught courses here on philosophy of peace and human rights and that sort of thing.
Okay. Let's say when you were a teenager or a young man, what books interested you, and how did they change your thinking or your life?
For some reason, I got very interested in Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, even in my early teenage years. I don't know where it came from, because being Polish, Russians were not very popular in our household, you know. But I loved the books. They were very philosophical and filled with vivid characters, you know, that lived these philosophies out, that you could see them in the world. And I still love them. I go back to them. I've read War and Peace every 10 years since I was 15 or 16 years old, and I still go back and write about it and think about it and talk about it.
Can you read Russian?
No,
Okay.
no, they're all in translation. But
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, before you came to Edgewood, what were you doing?
I didn't spend all my time in academia. I was a human rights and peace activist for 10, 15 years. I worked for Amnesty International.
Okay.
I worked for Human Rights Watch, and I worked for Ecumenical Partnership for Peace and Justice. And my wife and I both traveled throughout the state, the country, and the world advocating for human rights and for peace.
Mm-hmm.
My most adventuresome one was traveling to the Soviet Union when it was still under communism to meet with some dissidents.
Okay, what years?
That would have been 1986, 87, and Amnesty International had asked me to go and meet with Dina Zieserman, who was a refusenik. She had been refused by the government to leave the country. She was both Jewish and a peace activist, sort of a double whammy against her. And her husband had been arrested. Amnesty wanted to know about the trial. And somehow she had been able to get a microfiche of the trial. And when I met with her in her apartment, she took me into the bathroom and turned on the shower and everything and gave it to me to take back. And for the rest of the trip, my heart was beating because I thought if I get caught, I'm going to end up in a Russian prison. But going through security on the way out of the country finally, there was ahead of me kind of a German hippie type, and when the soldier asked him what he had in his backpack, he said, "Oh, just the usual drugs, guns, you know." Laugh, laugh, laugh. Well, suddenly, you know, he just got whisked away, and the guard was on the phone, and he just gestured to me to go on through, and stroke of luck, I got through. But I like to end the story there, but I got back to New York and got to the Amnesty International office, rushed up, handed in, and they said, "Dr. Kavaloski, we want to really thank you. It's good to have a second copy."
Oh no!
So that was my James Bond period, beginning and end.
Okay.
But it helps when you teach courses in peace and human rights to know something other than what's in the books, to actually have some experience out there.
Right. Good heavens. Okay, back to Edgewood. What was Edgewood like when you got here?
It was very small, and all the work got done running into people in the hallway. You know, there were committees, but things kind of got worked out through interpersonal connections, just because everybody knew everybody.
Right.
You know, at least that's the feeling you got. It was probably oversimplified, but it was a wonderful place. It still is, I think. I'm a little bit out of it, being part-time and, you know, living with disability and chronic problems.
What year did you get here?
Pardon?
What year did you get here?
Oh boy. Just about 30 years ago.
80 something.
Yeah. If you could do the math.
Okay, do you have any good Edgewood stories you'd like to share? You mentioned Sister Stevie earlier. Have you good Stevie stories?
Yeah. One rainy day, I was rushing from my class to a meeting of some sort, and over on the DeRicci veranda, Sister Stevie, our college sage and elder, sat serene amidst the tumult. And in the midst of everybody around, she cried out, Vincent, you're a philosopher. Why are we here on this earth?" And I was taken aback, and suddenly rushed through my mind all the different theories from you know, Aristotle and Plato on to the 20th century. But fortunately, she had her own answer. She said, "We're here to learn how to love." And I think by this she meant what she went on to talk about, not just romantic love and not just family love, but how do we learn to love everyone around us the way Jesus taught? Even beyond that, how do we learn to love the trees and the grass and the sky, the creation that God has made? And I think she stopped a lot of people in their tracks to listen, as she often did, by her wisdom. And I'm still working on that.
Wow.
I'm in my 70s now, and some people are easier to love than others. Fortunately, she didn't say you have to like them.
Right.
Just love them. In other words, care about their rights, care about justice, care about their well-being. And she lived that out. She was one of the few people, 2 or 3 people in my whole life, that really was able to do that.
Wow.
And I'm sorry that she isn't around to give that inspiration to people today. To see it really is possible.
So what are you doing currently?
I'm just teaching 1 or 2 courses per semester, and I'm doing writing. I have a little column in a magazine called Voice of the River. Short. I'm trying to summarize philosophical ideas in 500 words or less. And I've got 4 adult children,
Okay.
and they each have 2 children, so I've got 8 grandchildren. That keeps Jane and I pretty busy. It's very
Right.
gratifying, very rewarding, and very beautiful.
Nice. What is your vision for of the Edgewood of the future? How do you see the Edgewood of the future? Where are we going?
You know, I'm
Where
just
should
not,
go?
I'm just not sure. You know, I have raised critical questions about online classes, and you know, I banned smartphones and computers in my class because I have to teach kids how to make eye contact and talk to each other.
Right.
You know, they grow up staring at screens, and I'm afraid they're losing interpersonal skills, which are still going to be relevant in the future.
Right.
I don't think you can create a family online. You know, and the word friend has been degraded, you know, by the internet.
Right.
You know, my face or whatever it is.
Of the 5 core values of Edgewood College, which one speaks to you the most?
Well, they're all important. I think compassion is one that is very important to me. I'm still working on that one. A leftover from my military adventures, I think.
Right.
And it isn't the same as pity, and it should be universal, but I haven't quite got there yet.
Okay.
I'm still working on trying to feel compassion for people of all types, including people who are hurting other people. You can hate what they do, but we're supposed to feel compassion for them as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that very difficult at times.
Right. Finally, what wisdom would you like to impart?
Well, I think Sister Stevie really laid it out there. Learning how to love in a universal sense. And you know, it's easy to fall in love and have romantic feelings and have family love, and that's noble too, but try to extend that circle of caring beyond the immediate to include all human beings and all of creation. That's a pretty noble, exalted goal.
Yes.
And if I live to be 100, I'll still be working on it.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. It's been a wonderful life here at Edgewood. I really appreciate the students, the faculty, the staff, and just the opportunities. I've been turned loose and allowed to be myself, which is sometimes rankles people. Thanks.
Well, thank you.